Update. I, 26 female, just found my boyfriend, 28 male, on an adultery sub. Original post. We have been together for a total of 5 years. I always felt like I was going to marry this guy, but I guess not. Recently, I installed Reddit because my friend recommended it. I learned how to use it correctly after a while, and spent a lot of time on here, usually exploring new subs. I was reading a thread on an infidelity sub where someone mentioned an adultery sub that's for cheaters. Out of curiosity, I clicked on it and got hooked. It's filled with remorseless cheaters, and reading their posts made me cringe. But it was also interesting to know the cheaters' perspective and how horrendous they are. I was reading one of the posts, and the situation that a person was talking about felt very similar to an incident that happened a few days ago with my boyfriend, Adai. The username was the name of my boyfriend's dead dog, along with the dog's birthday. My stomach literally sunk. I opened a profile and spent a full hour going through everything. I'm 100% sure that it's my boyfriend. So many posts align with everything he's been up to these days. I even had some honorable mentions as well. His profile is filled with him asking for advice about how to regulate his relationship with the woman he's been cheating on me with. And the shocker part is that everyone on that sub actually gives him advice. Yesterday I asked him if he had read it, and this man refused before he could blink. He said that he found Reddit boring and had deleted it a long time ago. He also snooped through his phone and found nothing, which means he's using his laptop. The password he had told me some time ago didn't work, so there's that. I've been hoping for so long that I've got the wrong guy, but every time I go back to confirm, I become even more positive that it's him. To think that all the times when I thought he was at his parents' house or was hanging out with his friends or was staying back at work, he'd actually been with another woman makes me want to bloody disintegrate. How can these people be so cold and cruel? How can he betray me like this? Everything feels like an awful dream. What do I do now? Do I break it to him that I'm aware of his secret account? My friend told me to monitor his activities and catch him red-handed. So should I do that? Is there something else that I can do about all this? I can't think straight. My head is a mess. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Don't waste your time trying to get evidence. He's just a boyfriend, so you don't need to go to court. Just break up with him without reason. That'll get him more than anything because then he can't feed you white lies and promises he won't keep. Yeah, lots of people here saying she should gather evidence. But who is this evidence supposed to convince? The only one who needs convincing is OP, and she already saw everything with her own eyes. Say she confronts her partner, and the next day the account and all its posts are gone. Does that matter? This will only make OP ever more sure. There is no breakup judge. OP doesn't need permission to dump him. She can do that all on her own. I think the evidence is supposed to convince anyone who doesn't believe her or something. Just break it up, and if someone asks, tell them. If they don't bother. Break it off. You deserve better than this. Yes. Print off all his posts. Leave them where he can find them. Break up. Broker, no argument. Move out. Move on. Block and ghost. R/adultery is a stinking cesspool of human desire and immorality gone rogue. Utter filth. They celebrate and support people acting like selfish pricks to the people they've promised a lifetime to people who love them and believe they are loved in return. Man, the first time I came across that sub, I was just left breathless at the amount of encouragement they give to one another and being horrible people to the ones who love them the most. Crap was just downright sad. Just say your operation security needs work and dump his butt. Those people are disgusting. And now for the update. Someone messaged me for an update post, so here you go. First, someone mentioned in the comments of the previous post that I should gather evidence so he can't gaslight me or spread lies. I screen recorded his Reddit account, his posts and his comments, and later took his laptop and told him that I wanted to check my mails real quick. I was in luck because I never logged out of his account and I recorded that as well. Next day while he was at work, I got my stuff from his place and brought his with me. A lot of people were saying that I should ghost him, and as appealing the idea is, we were together for 5 years and I don't think I'm strong enough to do that. So I just left his stuff at his house and later in the evening, wrote him a message that I was breaking up with him. I didn't mention the cheating at first, only gave a couple of reasons as to why he could be a horrible boyfriend at times, and I deserved to be with someone better and more mature. Someone in the comments told me to say your OPSEC needs work. So the last message I sent him was, "Oh, and by the way, your OPSEC needs work." I blocked him afterwards, and so did my friends. Told my parents that we were no longer together. We only have a couple of mutual friends, and he can't keep them since they knew about his cheating all along and never told me. A day later, he emailed me since he was blocked everywhere else. It was a long story about how the affair with the other woman started because I deserved the truth. He called himself names and told me that I deserved better, and that he let me go because he wants me to find someone who's not a pig like him. He said that he was starting therapy soon to work on himself and asked to be friends because he didn't want to lose me completely. I don't even know if I should believe anything he says. I've deleted the email because I kept reading it again and again, and I need to move on. Also, he just made his relationship with a woman official on social media, which was followed up by another email because he didn't want to hurt me and wanted to clear any misunderstandings that might have occurred. Apparently, they're in love, and I should not blame his cheating on me because it's all his fault, because he's a piece of trash and blah blah blah. I didn't respond to that as well, and I've deleted the email since. He's right about one thing though. He is a pig. I hope he gets cheated on again and again until he breaks. I think this was the most absurd way I could have found out about his cheating. Don't know how lucky one needs to be to stumble on a post made by your boyfriend on an app this big. To think I would have never found out and most probably would have married him is terrifying. I just feel so grateful to whoever or whatever led me to find that post, but it also scares me a lot. I don't know when I'll be able to trust someone again, but I'm keeping my hopes up that I'll be able to build a relationship with someone again. As of now, I'm just going to eat a lot of junk food and cry. And to all the losers on that adultery sub, eat crap. I hope your significant others find out about your characterless and disgusting behavior and leave you, and all the miseries of the world come crashing over your head because it's what you deserve. Honestly, I'd shoot an email to the new girl to congratulate her on her promotion from side piece to main dish. Explain it only happened because you dumped his butt. And plot twist? Explain how refined his adultery skills are. I wish you two a very good life. I doubt it'll have the desired reaction. She'll shift from r/adultery to r/legit after adultery and celebrate her win. The fact that both these exist make me want to give up on dating and relationships altogether. So kind of him to let you go. Would have been cool to do that before stringing you along. What a no-good cheat. Trust will be hard for a while, but it'll come back with time, and healing, and with someone who deserves trust. You got this. He said that he was starting therapy soon to work on himself and asked to be friends because he didn't want to lose me completely. So a lot of cheaters over at r/adultery are in therapy already. Their therapists validate their feelings by telling them garbage like, love can come from unconventional relationships. I imagine he'll be similarly cosseted and babied. A lot of counselors and therapists are terrible with dealing with infidelity. It's why I always recommend therapists who specialize in infidelity only to people who discover their partners are cheating. He doesn't deserve your friendship. Block him here too. Close off all avenues of access. Edit. An aside and unrelated to this post, there is a post made by a man who cheated on his wife for 6 years with the same woman. His wife found out, checked out of the marriage, had her own affair, and left him. He was devastated. Like, seriously. A strange glimpse into the mind of a cheater, and another far more depressing account of an affair and its tragic consequences. Oh yeah, not all therapists are equipped to handle infidelity and betrayal trauma. I remember a family therapist who was in an affair and fully supports adultery did an AMA on that sub, all to validate their feelings and justification, not once asking the adulterers to reflect on their own self. Gross. Like I said before, people on r/adultery are lost cause. Now for the last story. Update. Husband 37 male called my 35 female romance novel habit an addiction to adult materials. Original post. My husband 37 male and I 35 female got married about 2 years ago shortly before the pandemic hit. We've both had a very rough time during those couple years due to losing multiple family members to COVID and both having jobs that got more stressful/demanding. Despite all these stresses, we have managed to maintain a really high-quality intimate life, about 4 to 5 times a week or sometimes more, with intimacy that is fun, creative, and highly satisfying to both of us. Our marriage has also otherwise been great with excellent communication, lots of non-sexual affection and support for each other through the stresses. At least until about a week ago. My husband and I both like to read quite a bit. However, we tend to read during our commutes or lunch breaks and not so much at home, so that we can spend more interactive quality time together when we both have free time. We don't usually spend a lot of time discussing what we are reading. I know he likes books about history and spy novels, but at any given time, I probably couldn't tell you what he is reading. We both read on Kindle and have separate accounts from before we were married, unless there is an especially interesting book he brings up. I will admit I like to read romances that have an erotic component, at least within certain parameters. I don't read any books that glorify adultery or other cheating, and most of what I read involves hot monogamy and committed relationships. That being said, there are a lot of explicit scenes. I will also admit that I do use the books to keep my personal spark alive and bring that back to my husband. I don't fantasize about being with other men, but often do get ideas for positions, role-play scenarios, lingerie I could wear, etc. With all the family deaths and work/pandemic stress, it would have been really easy to let my libido get smothered. But the books have helped remind me to prioritize intimacy with my husband and have provided some ideas for how to do that when I have been too stressed and exhausted to come up with my own ideas from scratch. My husband happened to see my reading list last week and, much to my surprise, went ballistic. Said I was hiding an addiction from him and ranted at me for hours before storming out. Then I went and told our family members and several close friends about my addiction. I'm just flabbergasted because they're just books. Books I don't read during time we are otherwise supposed to be spending together, and that actually helped my sense of sexuality. Also, we don't have any particular restrictions on actual adult materials in our relationship anyway. Neither of us is much into visual stuff, but we've never prohibited it with each other. Unfortunately, the people he told now think I'm spending hours a day watching adult movies and ignoring my husband, and are not believing me that my addiction is just mainstream romance novels that I read during time that would otherwise be wasted. Husband has given me an ultimatum to get treatment, 12-step program, therapy, or even rehab for my addiction, or he will divorce me. I want to be sensitive to his feelings, but I don't think I'm addicted or doing anything wrong here. I could give up the books, but then I just wondered what harmless thing he is going to demand I give up next. I really do love him and want our marriage to work though. What should I do? Info. In case anyone is wondering if this is a money issue, it isn't. We pool most of our money in joint accounts, but each have an allotment to personal accounts for our own spending money. The money for my books comes out of my personal account, so it's not taking anything away from my husband or our household expenses. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Sounds like an absurd overreaction, almost to the point that it's not believable. You do it 5 times a week, and he wants to divorce you because you read racy romance novels on the way to work? You sure there's not something else? Some deeper issue? I guess I'd find it hard to believe he's cheating when we're doing it, and fun and creative at that, so often. And he isn't being shady about his phone or computer and doesn't have big chunks of time or money that aren't accounted for. But there is likely something going on here that isn't at all about my books. Take him to couples counseling and explain the situation. Watch as the counselor looks at him and asks, "Are you freaking stupid?" Then be done with this whole thing. An addiction to adult materials would involve watching hours upon hours of visual stuff, self-pleasuring profusely, and it's getting in the way of personal time, quality time, and family time or even work. Or in your case, it would involve reading these books multiple hours a day, self-pleasing excessively in the same problems. It getting in the way of quality time, personal time, work, family time, etc. Seriously? Take his butt to couples counseling and bring along your materials and show your counselor. Then make him apologize. He took a problem that isn't an issue for one thing, made it an issue, then told everyone and embarrassed you. That's completely unacceptable and just downright mean. Thank you for this. While I do feel some excitement while reading the books, I don't use them to self-please. My husband gets the benefit of any and all that excitement. And as I said, I don't read much at home because I have other things I want/need to do, including quality time with my husband. I try to tell him a hobby he doesn't like isn't the same thing as an addiction. To me, what I'm doing is the same as reading cookbooks to prevent our dinner routine from getting into a rut, or looking at magazine articles about home organization to get some ideas on how to better use our space. Hopefully, any decent counselor will see it the same way. And now for the update. First, I appreciate all those who responded. Never thought this one would get so much interest. As many suggested, I spoke to my husband again about the issue and suggested marriage counseling. I said that while I disagreed that my romance novel habit, again, I only read during my commute or lunch break, not during time we would have to spend together, was the same thing as full-blown adult stuff, and that I definitely didn't see it as cheating. That I was sorry that I hadn't been more upfront about this hobby and my reasons for it, and was also sorry that I had hurt him. I told him that I thought a professional evaluation would be helpful just in case it was an addiction, for which some sort of treatment was warranted, and also that we could use professional guidance in keeping our spark alive during extremely stressful times through other strategies if he disagreed with me reading the novels. Unfortunately, he didn't accept my apology and insists that the damage has been done to our relationship. He wants to proceed with a divorce since I said I wanted a professional evaluation before admitting that I had an addiction, and that as I'm not taking responsibility for a behavior he views as a betrayal, that there is no trust left to save. We're still in the same house for now, but he's going to move out as soon as he can get an apartment, hopefully in January, and I guess that's it. I'm devastated because I really love him and thought we have a strong and lovely marriage. A bit part of me wants to throw myself at his feet and tell him whatever he wants to hear, but I know that wouldn't be healthy for me. I just have to assume he wanted out for whatever reason, and latched onto this as something he could blame me for. I did reach out to all the people, family/friends, he told he had an addiction, at least my family members and friends. I don't really know how many people altogether he told, and clarified that I don't watch visual materials, that I do read mainstream romance novels during my commute and lunch break, and that this is what he was objecting to as adult materials and cheating. My family/friends seemed horrified and shocked at his behavior, not mine, and I have now regained their trust and support to get through the divorce. I'm going to go visit my parents for a week starting in a couple days, and we'll be spending New Year's weekend with a couple friends in the area, so I won't be alone for the holidays. I feel like I've been put through a ringer, but I'll muddle through. I don't think I'll ever know the real reason why my husband decided he didn't want to be married to me anymore, but I guess it doesn't really matter. And whenever I'm ready to start dating again, I'll be sure to disclose up front that I regularly read romance novels, including ones with a lot of erotic scenes, just in case that's a deal breaker.